Hey, what is going on YouTube? This is Robert, and today I'm bringing to a little bit of a different video, but it is still TCG related, One Piece related as of late, but it does cover a much broader area and a larger subject at hand that is more frequently becoming a problem. Like, it wasn't so prevalent. You had the one-offs, the instances, and the slight here and there like issues or problems and times that people would bring up the issue, but now I'll be honest, you will see either a post a week or a few posts a month, maybe even 2 to 5 Reddit posts every other week in relation to this. And at the core, it is just going to be backdooring. For TCGs though, you might know of it as the "we ran out" method that stores will be using and places will be saying to you as an issue. Now, this isn't anything new. Backdooring has gone on for such a long duration of time. I've been into streetwear, such shoes, clothes and such, and backdooring has been a massive issue and a thing for as long as most people can remember. As soon as you got into it, you knew that places were backdooring instantly. So yeah, if you don't know what backdooring is, or if you don't know what the "we ran out" issue is, I will phrase it to you in a simple manner. This is a pen. I had to actually find a pen, so I had something. This is a pen. This is a limited edition pen that only 500, are available and have been made, okay? Now let's say these have been sent to 100 stores with an equal amount across each store. So it's very limited, but each store has 5. Each store has 5. And let's say you are the first person going into that store on the day of release of whatever. It's release day, they've said it's release day, okay? You go up and you say, okay, I'd like... Oh, sorry, we're out. We ran out. We don't have that. We didn't get stock. We weren't allocated. We haven't received our stock. We don't know if we're going to receive our stock. There might be a delay. That's it. End of. And you're like, that doesn't sound right, because it's on your Instagram, it's online, and you're under the, main branch company's website for one of the stores receiving stock. That should be a red flag for backdooring, where basically this might retail for £10, but because it's so limited, all of a sudden someone's offered me 50, 100, 150 just for one of them. Amazing. Our store hasn't even paid the £10. We've paid 6, 5, whatever we had to pay for. We've only spent 25 or 30, yet we can sell all 5 for like 6 to 800. That's brilliant. This is where the issue comes into play. Now, with shoes or sneakers specifically, these are known as tier licenses. You have a tier 0, 1, 2, so on and so forth. Obviously, as the number increases, it means the more simple things are. But to put it simply, a tier 0 license is a very, very, very limited thing that only a handful of stores will have in the world. When this came to Nike, what would happen is like SB Dunks, Travis Scott's, Fragments, all sorts of pairs that were basically extremely limited and wouldn't have a lot of releases, like Grateful Dead's, Lobsters, everything, Pandas, this, that, just so many different pairs, would only go to that set amount of stores and they'd be allocated a set amount of stock. However, the problem came into play is that as the popularity increased, a lot of these stores all of a sudden didn't have as much stock as they used to, and they became quite prevalently known for not having anything or not giving any winners because of the pure fact that they backdoored all their stock. Because if a pair was only £85 or £90 and it was selling for 500 to 750, a store is going to do that. If someone is going to come to them and say, look, I want an early pair, I'll give you 1,000 instead of what they're selling for normally, I'll pay above that so that I get a pair, they're going to do it and make a massive profit. But obviously a lot of these stores got caught out and they had to face the music. The consequences came into play and they lost their licenses. And losing a license, just so you understand, is so much more severe than just some backlash on like Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. It is horrendous because of the fact that a lot of the traffic that would drive to a number of these stores, whether it's their posts, whether it's their websites in general, or sales across the board, would be due to these raffles that they could release because they were getting limited pairs. So now imagine you take that away. Why are people going to go to your store outside of your normal customers? They're not. And some of them even lost like tier 1 licenses, which is not the super limited releases, but it's still limited releases. And that is even worse. It's like death for these stores. That's why you might have seen across the board a large number of shops have closed down. Their blame might be because of, you know, how COVID and other things came into play and affected them. But as an overall, it's because they lost their licenses. They could no longer do the things that drove a lot of people to their websites. And that was it. Their foot traffic's gone. They're just back to how they used to be. And if you go from, say, let's say a business is making like 15,000 a month, and then they get this massive drive due to these licenses, that's up to say 45, 50, 60,000 a month. With that, they've ramped up everything else, and now all of a sudden they're back down to 10 or 15. That's a big hit. And even if they dip below that even further, it's like complete death for these companies. So those are the actions that they must face. That is what they have to deal with after the fact when they get caught out. And that's why backdooring is a very, very risky thing for these places to do, because if you have enough people actually genuinely reporting you, it's like, that's it. Like, your business could be fully done for. You could lose licenses, you could lose any sponsorships, you could lose anything that goes into that business. And don't get me wrong, I'd feel bad for businesses that do go out, you know, and are done for and everything. But if they've been doing that, I feel like they do get what's coming. And yeah, you should just be honest with things. A lot of the places that are still honest to this day are doing fine. You know, they're not doing as well as they were, but they're still fine because they're trusted. People appreciate that they're honest and truthful and that they're not being like deceitful to people. So with that being said, we can move into the recent TCG issue, which has been going for a lot of local card shops for people or their stores. Yeah, it's not great. I've seen enough posts now that I've gathered a handful that are just talking about it. So if you don't know, recently for One Piece, they released OP13, which is the 3rd anniversary box. That's what it coincides with, the 3rd anniversary release. We had OP05, OP09, and now OP13. The issue is that they're meant to come with these 3rd anniversary treasure campaign packs. You were meant to, if you pre-ordered or ordered until the companies were out of them, get one of these packs that had the chance for a special serialized Luffy inside that's worth about 1,000 ballpark. Now, I experienced this myself with a LCS that basically I went there, asked if they had OP13. They said yes. This is the day after release. And I'll be honest, I'm not in the most populated area. You know, I'm not. I'm really not. It's very, the demographic for age is up there. So unless a large number of people went out of their way, they wouldn't really have sold out or lost, you know, that many of them, you know, from people buying boxes. And I noticed that they did have quite a stack, at least like 30, 35 boxes, okay? Now, I'll be honest, I already had 2 boxes. I wasn't really needing anything more, but I did want one of the packs. So that was my main thing, that if I was going to buy another box, I really wanted another pack, because now I know. I didn't know before with serialized Luffy or anything. I just opened the packs. I was like, oh, this is cool. I didn't really know. So I asked them, did they have any of the treasure campaign packs? They said no, they were all gone, which I found very bemusing because I don't think Bandai would have cheaped out on sending these packs to places. So the fact they said that they didn't have any and they all went with the boxes the day before, I just found very sus. But yeah, let's go into the issues. So we've got 5 Reddit posts and then a Twitter post as well to go through. So store owner keeps telling everyone this was the pack people buying boxes would get. That's not the right pack. That's not the right pack at all. That's not even a pre-release pack or anything. That's just a 3rd anniversary pack. So that is not the correct one. Obviously then people will then post the photo of what you're meant to get. And it says obviously from the 31st while stock lasts, which is understandable, but that is not the correct thing. So you will have people saying that they ripped them, that they did this, that they did that. And I'm pretty sure the pack that they got was just an event pack that you get for either playing or going and taking part in tournaments and such. But yeah, you will see all of the people commenting and someone got it. Oh, okay, fire, great. So yeah, that's one of the issues. The store has most definitely sold them. It's truthful. They've sold them or they've ripped them themselves to try and get it. Yet again, we have here, this is from 2 years ago, but still it adds up, it coincides. Swords and Boards in Radcliffe has been busted for saying their event promo cards on TCG Player. They're deleting all comments and reviews, so it's the internet I go. So it's not exactly something that is new. It's been going on for a while and people say things like they report but it does nothing. But I definitely feel like if enough people do it in a like heavy quantity that it is definitely going to have an effect because, you know, if you get enough people doing it and giving bad reviews and such, it's going to cause some sort of problem. You even have here from ST13 where people can't even get the promo packs with them at the time, and this is 2 years ago. So this is early days of the TCG that people couldn't even get the promo packs that were meant to come with things, and yet we're at this point in time and it's not really that widely talked about or spoken about, which I find very confusing, because realistically this is definitely something that's a wider issue and problem. Yet again, someone having an issue with their card shop that's basically trying to sell the starter decks at like 3 times the retail, which I find absolutely insane. That they're doing this, and yeah, I feel like this is definitely going to be an issue within other, genres, whether it's Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, even recently with like League. I feel that this is, or Dragon Ball, I feel like this is definitely something that's been going on, where people just can't get things and they can't get into the game. They can't start playing anything in general because places have realised what they can sell things for, and they'll just ramp them up as a result. Yeah, again, this is another person with this zone recently where they didn't receive the pack that comes with the OP13. They asked the shop, and they said you don't get it by ordering online, only local. I got 2 online from the place that I ordered, so I don't really believe that, where even Bandai states the fact that it does not apply to online. I did get them online, and I even asked, and they said that they would be doing them online for all purchases. So I find that a bit odd as well. Saying that you have to go in store to get them, I feel like that's cap. Now this person does say, which coincides with my sort of argument earlier, where the whole like in the UK a lot of stores didn't get the packs, but I just don't believe that. I definitely feel like they are lying. Across the board, I feel like shops that are local that don't do online stores specifically can get away with it a lot easier than places that do have online shops, I feel, because they will get reviews heavily against them, and it'll be quite publicized that that's a big thing for them to be like, okay, we're just going to send these packs out to people. Whereas places that don't have websites and such, I feel that they, are going to be a bit more sus with things, to say the least, and they're going to be a bit more deceitful to the outer or wider audience. Now those are just a couple of the instances and places, but this is something that I saw on Twitter that just came up. I only go on Twitter for like half an hour to an hour a day, so if anything catches my eye, I'll save it. And this is just one of the things that I wanted to catch and then just discuss in this, because it's something that stood out quite heavily in my mind, which was Bunny TCG. So it was someone stating that they went to a store to see how many boxes a place had, because it was for pre-release. So they were asking about the promo winners, when they can get them, this and that and the other, pay down to sit to open packs and everything, and ask for the promos so that they can play with them. Place said they didn't have the promos, which are like, as they state, $400 pack, which is kind of weird because it's $11.20. How would you not have them on release day if it's that? So then someone called them back saying they're going to give box toppers instead of the promos and the winners, which is kind of sus yet again. They went back, they then tell them that they can't get it unless they play, so they're going home. The owner then gets in their face, said that they never said any of that about any of the packs, I guess, and that they were doing a favour. They only went to try and get the Luffy. The actual promos are really nice and 3rd anniversary, but yeah, didn't have it, quote unquote, and then they even have tried to sell EB03 for 400, which is kind of insane. But yeah, how awful, like genuinely. And as they even state, like, truthfully hate stores that withhold information, make people pay full price for pre-release, then proceed to say, we don't have the promos. Like, yeah, sure you don't. Tell people they'll get box toppers instead of promos, and only a chance to win prize cards, even though they're playing and taking part. Like, it's kind of insane. And even below, they paid $55 for no promos or winner pack. They'd apparently given all the promos and winners away in the last events, but they only had one pre-release event prior with only 3 people attending. They also claimed they had 4 winners packs. So where'd the other 3 go? It's true. It is true. But yeah, I feel like this is a much wider spread issue and problem than people think in the end. And I definitely feel like a lot of stores are just pocketing the extra whenever they can, however they can, and, from whomever in the end. So yeah, that is the problem at hand that I'm seeing, that a lot of places are saying, oh, here's the promo that comes with your order. Oh, we don't have any. Or we don't have any pre-release winners or winners cards or promo cards for this release. People won them already, and it's like, really? People won them already? I don't think so. And I don't think unless Bandai makes this like a widespread issue, the same with other companies, whether they fully put their foot down and, you know, make it a public display of like, this store has been blacklisted from XYZ, I don't think they're going to stop, and they won't stop. And I think as long as Bandai are getting money, that outweighs all the problems, you know, and they don't really care that much. And the same probably applies to other companies and businesses, that as long as they're getting the cash, they're not really that fast in the end, which is unfortunate because it stops the large majority from getting things that are really nice in the end, you know, and enjoyable. And it's a nice experience to get a little box topper of something extra that's specific to that release and that set that is releasing. But yeah, anyway, that is my little conversation for today, done with the TCG, you know, backdoor epidemic or problem at hand that has been going within One Piece, as far as I can tell, since the start. As soon as stores saw the potential and the amount of money that things were going for, I believe that they just started doing it then and there. And say you get 20 stock and you let 15 go to the public and then sell 5 yourself, you know, nobody's really going to notice, because as long as you're giving a percentage to the public, people aren't going to bat an eye. So yeah, anyway, that's going to cover it from me. Let me know your thoughts down below, whether or not you've experienced this, whether or not you've confronted places about this, or whether you've had any issues with other TCGs or other things in general. But that's going to cover it from me, so I do hope that you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all next time. Peace.